Shit. All right, here we go. First off, let's do it the right way first. How's that sound? Okay, here we go. See, I'm already frazzled. I almost did it in the wrong direction already.
Man starts fire.
Oh my god! Look at the shot glass.
And welcome to week 8, 9, who the fuck knows, of the Biddiecast. We're gonna go over last week's scores. We're gonna preview next week's scores, and let's do this.
All right. Cutting right to the chase here. So,
Okay.
Anton, we were the game of the week this week because we had a little side bet that was miserable. But
Yeah, Anton's team didn't show up.
what happened to your team?
Points. Oof.
I don't know what's going on with John Smith, man. He killed it forever. And then last week he left the game early. So the other tight end came in and did great. Anthony something. He's on my bench, actually. I picked him up in case. But then he said he was 100% healthy. So I figured, keep him in. Again, 1.9 points.
Jimmy Garoppolo, though.
Jimmy Garoppolo, again, 10.5, and they actually won by 33
Better
to 6.
than Nick Foles.
That's not saying much. That's not saying much.
But again, I mean, you figure 33 to 6, you get more than 10 points, but they ran it the entire time. You know, it was and defense too. So, you know, as I said, you know, Rodgers showed up for me. That was good. But Mike Davis again didn't show up for me, and I'm worried about him right now on Thursday night because I'm not sure if he's gonna. I don't know if McCaffrey's back or not. So that might be it. I might have to take him out now.
It was a rough week for you, Anton. And
then you got Burrow.
No one else could show up. You couldn't even show up during the strikeout, really. and then there's my team over here with new pickup Joe Burrow just slinging touchdowns.
QB1.
And then Russell Wilson just doing his thing too. I mean, my team's basically unbeatable.
Well, I mean, you have 3 losses, so I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, that's why it's basically unbeatable.
And you were like the 4th highest scorer of the league this week, so.
Hey, I won my game, and that's all that matters. We're looking forward to next week.
That's all that matters, exactly.
Yeah, that's all that matters for you. Do you like the name, by the way? Because you had the Muppets, so I changed my name to Emil is Burning.
Yeah, so are you keeping this name, or are you just gonna change the name every week?
I change the name every week to fit to whoever I'm playing against.
There's no brand consistency here. It's just like, yeah, whatever.
Dude, it's like, you know, like I was gonna burn you in the Muppets, and I figured the Elmo emoji, so like, hey, I'm gonna put that in there, and you know, I'm gonna burn you like Elmo.
Yeah. I mean, got burnt this week in many ways.
And Tom, I think you need to have a new direction, man.
And then another thing too, you probably realize the name too. I got to point this out too, but you didn't see Emil is Burning. Hello, Rome is Burning. The TV show back in the day. Why put it like that too?
Okay, congrats.
Come on, I put a lot of thought into this. Nothing. Just like my team.
Well, Anton, you're the basement feeder right now. I hope you can get out of it because I still do have a bet with Dave at 3.5. We still got a lot of games to play. I hope we get there.
We're halfway through the season now, right? Just about.
Just about
week 14 is the playoffs. We got week 13. It's the last regular season game.
So a little bit over halfway through the season.
Yes, we are halfway through the season.
Yeah.
So, you don't got much time left there, Anton.
Dude, I'm still trying to make the playoffs. Hey, I got a chance at the playoffs, though, man. I'm still fighting.
If Anton can replicate his record in the back end, I win.
Exactly.
Sure. I mean, he's on pace to do that. We'll see what happens.
One less game actually, because if playoffs are week 14, then there's 6 games left. So if I go 2-4, I'll be good. Then I'll just try and win.
Yeah, we'll make the playoffs probably, but hey.
I'm going for the
Anything
playoffs,
can
man.
happen.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We'll see what happens this week. We'll preview his game. I think he's got a tough matchup this week, but we'll discuss that later.
All right. Well, I'm glad you guys got to enjoy that stupidity of me.
I wouldn't say I even enjoyed it. I was actually disappointed in your showing, not only in this week's fantasy, but in your bet. So hopefully, you'll be smart enough to make another side bet with somebody, and you end up losing that one, so you can make up for this.
Yeah.
How do you make up for this loss, though?
Setting a standard for yourself.
I was thinking
low, so that when you exceed the standards, everyone is super impressed.
Yeah. I was thinking of trying to do another side bet with Ben this time about the baby name, like something better involving his baby's name and what to name it. That's what I was thinking about.
So you were trying to make a bet with the person you're trying to make a bet about a baby's name with the person who is naming the baby. Seems like that's a bet you're just destined to lose.
I was thinking it. I never actually did it. That's something that popped in my brain as we were talking about that. I never was actually going to actually do it. It was just I thought it was a little funny.
A word from experience. Those are usually thoughts that you keep inside your head. But hey, thanks for sharing.
Exactly. It makes it more entertaining. I hope all guys laugh at that. I hope Ben doesn't try and kill me.
All right, we just mute his mic like he's Trump battling on about nothing.
Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Have fun.
I hope you have a better week this week than you did last week. So.
I'm gonna need to go to the toilet. Bye.
I have no idea how to boot him either.
That was good.
Things I gotta learn. All right, moving along here. The next game, Bennett like Beckham versus Matt Andreski.
Boom. What did I tell you?
Move, and by about 6 points, he won. What happened here?
What did I tell you? I mean, you know what happened? First of all, what happened is,
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, 14 points. Mike Williams, 1 point. Andy Dalton. I mean, Andy Dalton's not going to get you a lot of points to begin with.
Oh, gosh.
3 points.
He's been a real disappointment, though. Like, I think I put in a waiver claim for Dalton and lost it.
Good for you.
I don't know what happened. I mean, we can look it up here. What happened with Dalton? I added him.
Yeah.
And then just dropped him.
Yeah. Because you think about it, I was thinking about making a waiver claim on him as well, even though I didn't necessarily need a quarterback. I was thinking about, because you think about the weapons he has, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, you would think that he would be a halfway decent, at least quarterback to throw in there if someone gets injured on a bye week, but I mean, it didn't really happen, and well, who knows if he's playing in for a while. We'll see.
I think under most circumstances, Chris wins this game. He had some tough roster decisions to make, particularly between Dalton and Kyle Allen, which I think is also kind of odd because there were quarterbacks on the waiver wire this week. As I said earlier, I picked up Joe Burrow, and I don't think I put in hardly anything for him.
Right.
And he went off for 40 points, and that would have won him the game here. So he had a lot of really tough roster decisions with all these buys, and with all these players coming back next week. I think Dalvin Cook is practicing this week. I think he's got a good shot moving forward. That 5-2 record, I really think it should be more like 6-1. I think he still has a strong team moving forward. Same thing for Andreski. That's a win that he needed, and really surprised that he came up with it. But it's a game that he really needed to get back into things. And look, he's no longer last place.
Yeah, and he also didn't have a defense that he started, which, I mean, this was a close game. Could have come back to haunt him, but he didn't have a defense. His defense didn't play, and he still won the game. So kudos to him. But even kudos to him for having one of his receivers get not even a single point. Look at CeeDee Lamb, 1 point, and then Jerry Jeudy, 4 points. Like, his two receivers didn't even get him 5 total points, and he still somehow. I mean, you look at. it was Kamara and Stafford and James Robinson.
And the quarterbacks are winning in the game.
Yeah.
Your team You didn't get the high score this week, but you're damn close.
Close.
Double D. Even with Tyler Allen coming up huge, I think the question we have to ask ourselves now is now the time, like if you have Ezekiel Elliott in any of your leagues, is now the time to start like considering a trade for him? Obviously, he's not droppable, but this is several times in a row that he has just not had Zeke Elliott type weeks.
What are you going to get from him? That's what you got to think to yourself. Do you want to risk getting rid of him? He's had 2 weeks in a row where he's had below 15 points. Look at the rest of his outpouring. He's been pretty decent. Of course, he doesn't get necessarily the catches that he's going to get when Dak is throwing him the ball. But, what are you going to get back from him? No one's going to give up a king's ransom for Ezekiel Elliott. Maybe you'll be lucky if you get a wide receiver too for him. Maybe. I don't know.
And really, it came down to these two players on Derek's team, Elliott and Carson,
Sure.
where if they have just a regular game, a normal game, this game's probably a lot closer. But unfortunately, they just didn't have what was needed to beat your and I'm going to give you a compliment here, a rare one, very well-rounded team.
Yeah, I think there are some players who I traded away early in the season that I would like to still have on my roster, but I think I was able to kind of fill in some of those gaps with some other waiver claims and some moves. Certainly, I got some work to do this week. I got one of my quarterbacks on a bye, but I like my team. I like my team a lot.
How do you feel about Ben's team coming up with the win against Rob? Now, this is the only prediction that you got wrong last week.
Right. Yeah,
you're going with Rob, but when Cam Newton only gives you 0.8 points,
yeah,
you're not gonna get a whole lot from that. I'm actually surprised that he was able to get 126 points out of a lineup with Cam Newton, Chase Claypool, Robert Tonyan, and Josh Jacobs, kind of putting up subpar numbers there.
Yeah, Cam Newton hurts. You would expect him to play a little bit better, especially against the San Francisco defense that is just hurting, right? Everyone's getting hurt on that team left and right. And also Chase Claypool. Yeah, he came out of nowhere. He's a rookie. I'm not expecting him to put up 25, 30 points a game, but you would expect him to get better than 0.8 points.
Especially,
I don't know how many targets he had, but it's his lone target. He was only targeted once. Tennessee's defense is good. Don't get me wrong. I think Tennessee's got a really well put together, underrated defense there. But I think Rob made the right choice. What's the rest of his bench? Who else does he have? Any wide receivers? DJ Chark. I going into this week, I would have made the same move with Chase Claypool. You have to.
After Claypool coming off 2 huge games, he becomes almost a must start in that situation. Absolutely. So it's just unfortunate that he had so many players just kind of lay eggs this week, and then meanwhile Ben finally getting some production out of Tom Brady, and I think that's going to keep up. So that even offsets his running back committee. He's putting together some solid numbers here, but can he sustain it? Even looking at his bench, he made all the right moves this week. I guess anyone could have gone in place of Jerick McKinnon, but he wasn't going to get many more points than that. So I wonder just like how much longer his running backs can be healthy. One, because he does have Aaron Jones and Le'Veon Bell in the background, and by healthy I mean like startable. Aaron Jones is obviously a startable running back, but with his injury, can he stay healthy and be that replacement for Phil Lindsay that Ben really needs to, I think, become a championship contender?
Yeah, that as well. And you gotta think he's hoping that Eckler comes back sooner rather than later. I believe there was a report out that Anthony Lynn said it might be a little bit longer for Eckler. Maybe he'll get him just in time for playoff time if Ben makes the playoffs. He's in a great spot right now. It looks like he's trending towards that way. But certainly with Le'Veon Bell, with Eckler, with Jones, he's in a position to get some wins. But again, we've got 2 running backs coming off of injuries. I mean, as a running back, there's a very high risk of probably of re-injuring them on that position. So
the UK Bills were the point champion this week, getting 46 points from Devontae Adams. And then, again, a well-rounded team here. Julio Jones finally showed up. Derrick Henry got it done. So did James Conner. Ryan Tannehill gets you exactly what you expect. Gardner Minshew, maybe a little bit of more than what you'd expect. Really, the only person here that fell short was Dalton Schultz, but that's not going to become a problem when you're playing against a team that's only putting up 91 points. Yeah,
I mean, he outscored his opponent by, I think this is probably the largest margin of victory we've had all season. Mm-hmm. It's the first time we've had the highest scorer and the lowest score be in the same game. So that's interesting. It should be very interesting to see if Paul accepts the challenge that Alex laid out for him. I'd be very excited to see that. But yeah, again, I mean, UK Bills, we were talking about him being at the bottom of the totem pole when it came to the point total for that elusive, point championship that we have in this league. And he has creeped himself all the way up to 4th, I think, in the point total. I mean, but you're going to have that when you have 3 weeks of damn near 200 points apiece, right? So good for UK Bills. He's got a very good team. I mean, that Tennessee team, it's helping him out a lot because that offense just seems like it's the real deal right now.
He's got players coming back from bye. Mark Andrews, who's had a spectacular season. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the top maybe 3 or 4 tight ends in the league. So
yeah.
I think he's got a lot of promise for the playoffs coming up.
Absolutely.
Second half of the season. So taking a look at our predictions this week, you tied it up, Dave. You finally did it. After being down by, 3 games, you were able to make up that margin pretty quickly.
Yeah, pretty proud of myself. Happy about it. I mean, season's a long season. We got a long way to go, but certainly if you had the kind of week that I had, and I fumbled the ball, if you could get yourself up to a 6-7 game lead, that's tough to come back from. But fortunes were in my favor this week, and I'm looking to continue that streak this week.
All right, well, let's get right into it. The first game, this is probably the primetime game just because the score is so high and so close. UK Bills versus the itty bitty tight end by committee. Who's going to take the win from this one?
Yeah, I'm going with UK Bills. I think UK Bills is really going to put together a streak here. It's funny. We've been talking all season long about Ben's team being, probably the best team in the league, and still saying that, certainly, especially when he gets all his running backs back. But I think this week, I'm taking UK Bills in this one.
You know what? I think I've taken Ben the last at least 2 weeks. I'm looking at the records now. I've taken him the last 2 weeks. I'm gonna stick with Ben on this one.
Okay.
I think this is gonna come down to quarterbacks. And I see UK Bills put Breeze back in, which I think is a good move over Minshew. But Josh Allen and Tom Brady, I think Brady's just going to go off from here on out. I think Brady's really found a rhythm, putting up, I think, 5 total TDs last week. And then Josh Allen against New England defense, I think it's going to be a big game. And Allen, I don't know if it's just a show that he puts on with trying to be Bills Mafia, but even if it is a show, I think that this divisional game is going to mean a whole lot more to him than maybe other games. So I'm expecting a big win from Allen too. So I think Ben takes this one.
Okay, fair enough.
And Dresky, are you going to go with him for a 3rd straight week against Padalescu? Right now, he's favored.
Well, I want you to tell me what you're going with this on this one.
You know what? I'm a believer in Team Dresky right now. That he's really turned things around. He's shaped his team. In fact, he never really had to turn things around. He just
Right.
had bad luck at the beginning of the year. You and I have been talking about that all year. A whole bunch of bad luck, and finally he's now on a streak. I think 2 in a row, right?
He's on a streak.
2 in a row. I think he can keep it up and kind of tie Paul's team for that 3-5 record, which should be really in an interesting spot heading into the back half of the season.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you there. I as you mentioned, I've had faith in Team Andreski all season long. I'm gonna continue that faith. I'm picking him to win as well.
Of course, Paul, with his team, anything can happen when you have Lamar Jackson on your team.
Sure.
So I do think this one's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a close game. Absolutely.
The Muppets versus Beckham Jr.'s Bendit stuff, which he did this week again. He bent his knee backwards.
Yeah, season over. Hopefully that doesn't translate to Chris's season being over. But
I don't think it will with his roster, nor does he have Beckham on his team.
Right.
But you're always scared of Patrick Mahomes when you're going up against him, and Dalvin Cook, Amari Cooper, George Kittle. His team is solid up and down. I think I have too many question marks on my team to get the favored edge here.
Right.
So I'm gonna take Chris on this one, and I've been taking Chris for I think the whole season. So I'm gonna continue with that streak.
Yeah. I mean, again, I hate to agree with you on these picks because, I would like to distance myself from you. But, I mean, I don't think Joe Burrow is I don't know who you have on your bench. If you have a different quarterback there that could be playing. I mean, you got Goff, so you may throw him in there instead of Burrows. Yeah, I mean, Chris's team is a good team. He was in first place for a hot second. I mean, the only reason I'm ahead of him is because of the point total. But Chris's team's a good team. I'm going with Chris's team as well. I'm going with the Bendits.
Double D versus Anton Mariani. What do you think his name's going to be this week, by the way?
So I don't know if he really knows Derek all that well, right? So I think he's probably going to make some sort of play on the double Ds.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever the case may be, Anton's got no chance in this game. Anton is I know he got almost a 30-point favorite here, but I think Double D will do some work, and he'll Michael Thomas is a big question mark. Who knows if Michael Thomas is going to play, but Double D has been doing just fine without Michael Thomas.
Look at the predictions, though.
Yeah.
It's all Anton's game here, but
you know what? I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to do that good against Stephon Gilmore. The battle of the Stephons. That's going to be a huge thing for his team. And then Jimmy Garoppolo going into Seattle. Good luck.
Yeah,
good luck.
Not for him either. I'm actually surprised that his projection is 21.8. Like, I don't know where they come up with these numbers. And then Daniel Jones against Tampa Bay, which that could easily become a shootout. He's only getting 17. So you're taking Double D. I'll take Anton.
Okay.
Killer Tomatoes versus the number one team in the world right now.
Right.
The Angry Creamsicles.
I'm curious to hear how you are on this one.
Hey, I told you the last one. Are you sticking with yourself on this one?
I always do. I will never bet against myself.
Why?
It's my team. I always have the most confidence in my team. I think I can always feel the team out there, unless I was riddled with injuries. I mean, Kareem Hunt's my only question mark. I picked up Drew Lock as a replacement to Matt Ryan, who is on a bye, or Deshaun Watson, rather, who's on a bye. I got confidence in that team. I think my bench has always, for the most part, been a decent bench where I could plug players in. And if Drew Lock happens to go out, he's projected to have 17 points. I'd be fine with putting Robert Woods in there as my offensive player. I'm not betting against myself. I'm gonna win this one.
All right, I'm definitely taking Rob on this one because you are going to lose. Tua is going. He's coming.
Sure.
And before we do move on to the standings and everything, I do want to just ask the question because I think it's been going through Rob's head. Should I start Cam? Can I start Cam Newton?
I mean, against the Bills defense, I mean,
Your opinion by putting Tua in there, who hasn't played a game.
I mean, Tua's got this thing about him, right? Tua's got this athleticism. He's young. Sure, he's coming off a rather significant injury in college, but I mean, if that guy never got injured, I don't think he's around when the Dolphins are picking when they drafted him. I think he gets drafted earlier. Tua's got all the skills. It's an interesting decision by the Dolphins. I mean, I think Fitzpatrick was playing perfectly fine, and that team is still there, and they're in the playoffs talk. There's no question about that. The Dolphins actually have a shot at leapfrogging the Patriots and being second in the AFC East. I know that's not really saying much with the AFC East the way it is, but at this point in time, you see the way Cam's been playing since he came off the COVID. I don't know if he's got the COVID brain, what's going on with him. Cam Newton has not been a good quarterback since his MVP season. I wouldn't be surprised if you get another situation. Cam Newton might not even be the starting quarterback after this. If he lays an egg, Cam Newton might not be your starting quarterback. They might go with Stidham and just see what happens with him. So I would, if I was Rob, I would agree with Rob putting in Tua in there.
I like the choice too, and I'm thinking at 3-4, this feels like a must-win game. It's not really a must-win game, but it feels like it. And you gotta go big or go home, and you know what you're gonna get with Cam, and it's really risky. With Tua, it could be really big, or hopefully he just gets at least 10 points,
right?
Which is a whole lot higher than Cam's floor.
Absolutely.
So taking a look at the standings, you are number 1 in the league at 5-2, and with 1059 points.
Right there.
Bennett Like Beckham is right behind you with 10-12. But I lead the league in points for. Unfortunately, I also have a lot of points against.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here at 4-3.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to get real interesting going forward here. You're still in first place, but your lead has dwindled. I mean, you have a 60, call it a little more than 60-point lead over Derek, and then about a 30-point lead, or 80-point lead over me. I don't know, my math would be off there, but yeah, I mean, it's getting close. It's getting to the end of the season. It's funny. We were talking about, as I mentioned earlier, UK Bills. I mean, they've pulled up to 4th, 5th, 5th place in the points total. Anton's dropped down. You get a couple games where you're scoring 150, 160, 170 in a row, and you're right back in there. And this point race is going to be just as interesting as who's going to win the championship. Because you know what? At the end of the day, you could get lucky and you could win the championship and not win the point total. Those two are not mutually exclusive. So it should be interesting. It should be fun.
Right now, here is the winner's bracket. Now, I don't think it should actually be this. I think I would rotate Beckham with myself because it's taking the two division winners.
Right. And
that's not how we're doing the playoffs. So I would be playing UK Bills in this situation. But it's still early. We've got 6 more weeks to go. 6 more. Mm-hmm. 6 more weeks to go, and there's a lot of teams right on the bubble there. But it looks like 3-4 is, and you've got to be really good. You've got to be the best of 3 and 4s to really make it.
That's why 3 and 4. That's why it's a big game for Killer Tomatoes too, right? Because you just mentioned it. I mean, you got to be the best of the 3 and 4s. 3 and 4 is the lowest of the winners bracket. So if you're sitting at 5 losses right now, you drop down to 6. That's not good. If you're sitting at 4, you drop down to 5. That's not good. This is the point right now in the season where if you have 4 wins or less, you're in good shape. And then anybody who has 5 or more, if after this week 5 more losses, I'm not saying it's time to write it in, but certainly it's not looking promising for you.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us this week on the Biddiecast. Dave, send it away.
Yeah, everyone enjoy this week of football. Enjoy the snow. We're supposed to snow today this weekend, Sean. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No way.
Well, and you're enjoying your 85-degree weather and
Oh
jumping.
no, I'm freezing. That's why I'm wearing a hoodie.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Was it 80 there? Was it 80?
Currently it is. I want to say like 60 something. It might even be lower than that. And I know that sounds warm to you, but 60, the cold 60 that we have here, the dry 60. It says 70. I don't believe that though. We have a low of 43 next time.
Oh, fake news. Right. Well, I mean, enjoy that, Sean, while we're going to get buried in some snow. Everyone stay safe this weekend. Don't get COVID. Go vote. And also go fuck yourselves. Really, I appreciated the thought process and the fact that you went out and got an 8% seltzer. That was a nice little, but I mean, from the get-go, it was doomed.